Episode of Ovations English Through Acting, where we have amazing guests and we talk about how we got through life learning another language and how we go to other countries and speak another language and how we have to become other people in that other language. And we have amazing guests to tell that today. And today we have one of the most amazing guests ever. Yes. And now look. She's looking now. When you see her, look at her. Look how beautiful and wonderful she is. But you have no idea what's in store for her. So once again, in this show, I'm always going to have students of mine who have come to me for help and help them get through, get to their next level in life. And this is my dear Hannah. Hannah is 18 years old. And she came to me because obviously she's a very, very, very talented young woman. Hannah is a professional piano player, and I say professional because I've seen her work, and she is an amazing musician. Amazing musician. Not only that, she also is a master at languages, another one. So she came to me because she really wanted to master English, really wanted to feel more comfortable, like like most of my students, they come to me. Hannah is another one who came to me with a really good set of English skills, and she just wanted to perfect them. And I was so impressed because when you hear her talk, yes, you're going to hear a little bit of an accent, but what she can say and how she expresses herself is amazing. And so right now I'm gonna introduce one of my favorite people in the world, Hannah. Hannah, how we doing today, Hannah?
Oh, you're doing great.
Look at this. So Hannah, so you came to me probably I think it was maybe almost 6 months ago, and I want at first I want you to tell people who you are.
As he said, I am Hannah, and I'm living currently in Germany, but I'm half German, half Japanese, so I can speak both languages on a native level, and I also speak additionally English, and I've learned also some French in school. And I'm doing as a hobby, I'm playing piano, and I'm also playing badminton. And yes, I've come up to Boston to learn more English, but also become more confident and can to speak more entertainment. Yeah.
And for that, we have to give you look at that. I mean, did you hear that? Did you hear that? So, look, as I said, okay, she lives in Germany. So she's half German, half Japanese. She's native in both of those languages. She learns other languages as well. She's a piano player and a badminton player. I mean, and this is somebody who is when I say master at languages, if you can, I mean, when you hear the German language and you hear it, it's so difficult just by listening to it, and Japanese. You've learned really two of the hardest languages out there. Obviously, did you learn both at the same time?
Yeah, I've learned both languages while growing up, and it was like really not really like going to school and learning like grammar, but it was both like this my native language as any other people learning their own language.
So, because there's a lot of people who have mixed families, was one language dominant than the other, or did your parents make sure that like did your first, just who is the German side? Is it your mother or father?
My father is the German.
Father's the German side, and your mother's the Japanese side. So, did they each speak to you in their own language, or was German the common language?
It's hard because I also had to speak German outside of home because like I'm living here for a long time. But at home it's difficult because when I'm only with my father, we're speaking German, and also with my brother, I'm speaking German. But when my mother's there, we all speak Japanese. So it depends on with who I am.
And can I ask you, because this is something that, before I learned a language, I always thought it was amazing how people could just switch. Is it just an instinct, or do you have to think, okay, now I have to go into Japanese?
Mm,
Or is it just instinct?
I don't actually have to think about it. I just do it instantly and I don't need any time to do so.
And is being from two nationalities, and obviously, how is it like being a teenager in this time? Do most of your friends speak multiple languages, or is it mostly just German?
Since Germany is a really international country, and also in my school there are a lot of people who have mixed backgrounds or speak several languages. I think it doesn't feel like different from others, but I also have a lot of friends who are also half German, half Japanese. So for me, it feels really natural that I can speak both languages.
And you said that, and let's talk about your, because obviously German and Japanese is your native languages, okay? But now English. Tell us about your journey into English. How did that start?
I don't know. So in Germany, people start learning since first class. So I've heard like English since I was like 7 years old, and Germany is like really has a really high level of English education, and the language is um is different, but there are a lot of vocabulary which is like the same. So I think for me it wasn't hard to learn that language, and when I realized I could just speak like on a certain level, and then I've met some international friends and I've started like talking more in English, and yes, that's how I've learned English. But it was not that I was sitting on my table studying for hours any grammar or something.
It just was, you just learned it naturally through school, and did you were you interested in like listening to American music or English music or television or series?
Not really. I was like hearing mostly Japanese music, so yeah, I haven't like had much contact with English since I've met my two international friends.
Do you think that since you have two native languages, do you think it was easier for you to learn English, that maybe you kind of have some type of format, or did you, I mean, because obviously you're learning English with friends, in school, so you could see who can advance. Was it easier for you to learn English since you already had two languages that you could speak?
Mm, I don't really know if that's the reason that it was easier for me to learn English, but I think also when I look at the students in my class, I think I'm a little bit like on a higher level than some other students. Maybe it's because I've already learned two languages on a native level, but I think my confidence was more important that I've grew through communication with others in English.
So now, okay, and now the one of the great things, one of the reasons why I enjoy always my classes with Hannah is she's musically gifted, but also she's an athlete, and it's at high levels. So, and I always said that, learning a language is like learning music or even a sport, right? It's just practice every day. So, can you talk to us about your musical journey? What got you started with piano?
I first started playing the piano when I was, I think, 7 years old, and my
At
mother
seven.
at 7 years. So my mother was also playing the piano. I think now she plays for 30 years. So she wanted me also to play the piano because it's also like a pretty normal thing in Japan to learn the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I think for the first 8 years I hated practice and playing. But at some point when I was able to play the songs I really enjoyed to play, I think it was like a turning point for me. And now I think I'm like playing around 30 minutes every day. And yes, but I'm not like really practicing for any like concert or like big things. But I'm just enjoying it.
Which is amazing. Which is usually why most musicians get noticed. The ones that are playing for their own enjoyment are the ones that usually get noticed. And what is the style of music that you really are attracted to playing?
I think I'm really attracted to that, but also like more modern classical music. But I'm like playing
And
any sort of music actually.
and you read music, correct?
Yes, I do.
So, I mean, and if for all of you non-musicians out there, music is another language. Okay, it's not just a skill. It's a language, and we have our own words that we need to learn how to read. So who you're looking at is you're looking at a young woman who can speak multiple languages, but also can speak the language of music and can read it. Not I can read music, but not at a high level. I learn mostly by ear, which most musicians do. But this is somebody who can learn multiple languages, but also learn the language of music. And it's incredible. Now, what about your badminton skills? Because you are an athlete. We've talked about how you're with what you do with badminton, and tell people how you got into that.
Mm, when I moved to Germany, because in I was living in Japan for 3 years, and then I came back to Germany when I was 10 years old. And I first did like karate for like a few years, but then I was like got tired of it, and I started playing badminton because it was like right next to my house, like 3 minutes walk. That was the start, and now I'm playing for I think 5 years.
Was athletics or exercise always important to you to
Yes, I
do?
was like a really active person since I was young. But I really got into badminton because I've met there new people, and I've made a lot of friends, and I started practicing more and more. And now I'm also playing at the adult club for my club. And yes, I'm also like going to the gym for like some new badminton skills and my condition. And yes, then I started like playing also at tournaments.
I have a question for you. Are you confident in your skills, in your abilities, in all the abilities that you have, in languages and music and athletics? Are you confident in your abilities?
I think when I just take like one of my skills, I don't think that I'm like really really confident that I think I'm the best. But since I have like a lot of abilities that I've learned over a long time, I think I'm pretty confident in my yes abilities.
Do you feel like you had to overcome any fears or insecurities while learning badminton or learning music or even learning English? Did you ever have to go through these hard times, these emotional times?
Mm, I think not really because I think the piano was the worst for me because of course there were some times where I didn't play good or there was like the pressure from my teacher. But I think all in all the abilities I've learned over this long period, I think I did it with joy and interest. So for me, it wasn't hard because I didn't have the pressure for myself. I was just enjoying it, and now I'm able to do it on a higher level than before.
Do you see a connection between language and music? Do you see that connection?
Yeah, I see it definitely because there are like these notes, but also like the words and everything describes this music. And I also have to understand what the artist wanted to tell someone and which emotions are shown on these parts.
Exactly, exactly, and this is one of the main reasons for this show is to explain the emotional journey that we have to go through. Obviously, this is I specialize in performing arts through English, and understanding that learning an art form, it's you're exposing yourself, and there's a lot of things that you have to learn about yourself in order to actually be good at these crafts. Do you think that having being able to speak two languages, do you think that gave you the confidence to be able to play piano and do better? Because really, I mean, if with the people that are listening, that are going to listen to this, are going to think like you're some type of robot, like you're just, because really, because it's like, and that's why I asked you the question, do you feel confident, or do you, because I want people to know that, yeah, she is human. She does, yes, she speaks like what, four languages. She's great. I mean, she says that she's good at piano, but I've heard her. She's amazing, amazing, and she's a great athlete. So having that that background in being able to speak two languages, did that help you in music at all? Do you think?
Yeah, I think that definitely helped me because I think for me, music is like also all the connections and emotions I've felt until now. And also, my teacher is Japanese, so I it was important for me that I can speak Japanese because she's also always talking in Japanese to me. But I think my teacher's also talking in German, and she also mixes like other languages. So I think it helped me because I can have more like I have seen more, I've heard more, and I've felt more in different languages. And music is also one sort of language, so I have like more a wider range of emotions felt until now, which I can tell
And
my music.
And do you think having a musical ear also helps you pick up the language? You're hearing the sounds, like you could really hear them in a way maybe other people can't hear, where you can kind of memorize the sounds that you hear.
Yeah, also I think it's also um this these two really different languages, German and Japanese, and music. You hear different tones and from the different language also. So when I speak English with somebody, I also hear like different tones that I've learned from example music or Japanese or German.
I'm so glad you said this. Do you, when you're switching from languages, do you have a different voicing for each language that you use?
Yeah, I think I do.
Because whenever I
Yeah,
speak Spanish with
yeah,
people that know me, they go, "You have a different. You sound, like I speak very well Spanish, but they always say that my voice changes. Because it's like I think I have to. Uh, I think because I have to push more, I have to use more of my vocal cords in order to get these sounds out. Where in English it's more relaxed. I can just
yeah,
speak and I don't even think about it, but I'm really using, when I'm speaking Spanish, I'm using my instrument. I'm aware of my instrument here, like, all this, and people don't realize that this is an instrument, this makes the sound, this is your instrument, all the muscles in your jaw, and here, obviously your throat muscles, and that's what I always tell people first thing, and I told you, in order to really make the sounds come out correctly, you have to develop these muscles, just like playing piano, right? Now this is a great question, because a lot of people they probably think that you just sat on the piano and were just playing Mozart. Was it like that? Were you naturally good at the piano?
no, I don't think so.
No,
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 I started
no.
on a really low level, and also now I play with emotions, and I also try to hear like impressive, but actually the notes I'm playing are not that hard, but I put my emotions inside, so I think that people think, wow, he's like really good, but I'm just develop other
You're
abilities than playing hard songs.
So, okay, so now this is important because you said that you weren't good at first, okay? How did you get good?
Mm,
How did you get good?
I think liking the piano was the biggest, yeah, thing that pushed me and my piano skills. Because I hated the piano, like I hated practicing, I hated playing, I hated my teacher. But after started to really enjoy playing, I think it was easier for me to get inside to the music and into the language the musician is using and what he wants to tell me.
Okay, so this is so interesting, okay, because when people are learning a language or even learning music, they look at the process and they look at it like, oh my God, this is impossible. You know, how am I going to do this? You know, and you know, when I play music, people think that I'm just a naturally talented musician. No, that's just like you. I was god awful, god awful. Really, I mean, my fingers couldn't move like nothing. Um, so what and this is what I want people to understand is, you know, because you said you know, you hated piano and learning a language, it sucks, it's terrible, you know, it's really not a fun process until you get to a point, right? Until, like you said, until you get to a point where you could actually put your emotions into it. Can you tell people or give people advice on how to just weather the storm? You know, because like you said, you started it, you hated it, but you kept going. What helped you to keep going in that process?
I think consistency, but not to always make a goal. For example, I have to practice every day 30 minutes for sure, but just do it every day. Only for a few minutes, watch a movie in English or just hear to one song in English, but do it every day and just keep going and don't think every time like negative things, but just stay positive. Or I think I just don't think really deep about things. I'm just doing it.
Now, the reason why that's a big cheer is because this is you said you actually gave everybody the formula. There is a formula to learning. It's consistency. It's consistency. Taking 30 minutes, 30 minutes out of your day, every day. I mean, think about it. 30 minutes, most people spend 30 minutes just scrolling, looking for something to do, and they're not even learning anything. And imagine what you can do in those 30 minutes if you focus on it. You know, and you said, hey, okay, I really don't want to practice, but it's only going to be a half an hour, and then after it, I'm going to go watch a movie. I'm going to go get some pizza. I'm going to go hang out with my friends, and it's gone. But you did the work. You know, you did the work. And it's the same thing. And I'm going to ask you, is it the same thing with athletics? Isn't it the same thing with sport?
Yeah, because it's just important to show up every time. And yeah, there will be my friends, and I just enjoy the time, and the pain will go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure when you first picked up a badminton racket, it was just like like all over the place because you didn't have any nothing, you know, the muscles needed to control the racket weren't developed, right? Because you know, people think, okay, yeah, you just hold a racket and you hit it. But in order to really hit it where you want it to go, it needs, you know, you have to be in control of these muscles. So it is. It's the same. And Hannah just gave everybody the secret, and it's no secret. You know, it's really no secret. It's just consistency. Take time out every day to do it. Just like people take time out to go to the gym and you work out. You want to learn a language, you can, right? It's just you want to learn an instrument, you can. It's take like Hannah said, half hour every day. Even though it sucks, it sucks. You don't have to enjoy the process. The process isn't really an enjoyable process. What's enjoyable is when you get to the point where you've done all that work and you finally have the control. Like now, like what Hannah says, and what's great. And I had that same feeling on my instrument, where I was just playing and I could play very well, but then there came a time where I could really put myself. How I was feeling that day is how I played, and that's how. So, and she was telling you that she got to a point where she was able to play with emotion, you know, and that's when it became fun. And same thing with language, same thing with sport. It's always the process is always. Hannah, was it fun to learn any of these things? Was the process fun?
No.
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 No. It sucks. It sucks. Is it fun now?
Definitely.
Yeah. I just saw an amazing video she sent me of her performing. And if you see this, you're going to see the intensity that she has, and the emotion that she puts into it. And that's just every musician's dream. So, yeah, she went through all of that process, and now she's taking advantage of it. She's in full control. Same thing. I mean, she tells me about her badminton, and she's like a striker. I mean, if you look at her, she looks as sweet, but I think on the court she's probably a crazy animal. She just wants to like hit that thing as hard as you can in your face. Because why? And she has every right. She put the hard work into it, and she's enjoying that. When you get to slam that bat, when you get to slam, what's it called again? The thing that you hit?
The shuttle.
The what?
The shuttle.
Yeah, when you hit that thing so hard and it goes exactly where you want it to go, it feels so good. It feels so good because that's from all the work that you put into it. And you can look at all those hard times and go, it was terrible, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. So Hannah, you're 18 years old. You know 3, probably 4 languages. You're a musician. Well, and we could say accomplished because you do. I saw concerts of yours, so you are an accomplished musician, and you are an accomplished athlete because you do play in a club. So what's next for Hannah? What's in the future? What does the future hold for somebody with so much talent?
I think I'm actually really open, but I want to keep searching for things that interest me and for things that I can think all the suffer is worth it to do it. That's one thing I want to find in the future.
And do you really feel like since you've learned all these skills, did that give you the confidence to like you said, like if something else interests you, you're just gonna go, yeah, sure, I'll learn it. Do you think you have that because you accomplished those other skills?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know so. I know so. Because that's just what happens. Anybody who takes the time to learn a skill, a craft, uh, and you are able to control it and make it yours, that's that's what gives you that confidence. Um, and what advice do you give people when because as I have a lot of students, and they all come to me for the same reason. They all have a good level of English. Most of them have great levels of English, but they just don't have that confidence. How can you, as as an 18-year-old, and I know that you're young, but the thing is, you are older in a sense where you've done more than most people have done. So you have that experience, and I think you have that legitimacy to actually give advice. So, what advice would you give people when they're when they're ready to take on that journey of learning a language, or even learning, in this case, or learning an instrument.
Just don't compare yourself to people. And no, I think, yeah, maybe there's sometimes like people who will laugh about you or say, yeah, you can't do it. But I think just keep going and take it easy. But just do it every day. And at some point, even though the level didn't increase a lot, just the fact that you did a lot and put effort in it gives you and this experience, and is I think this gives the most confidence. And at some point, when you're, for example, talking with someone in English or playing like an instrument in front of somebody, they will tell you, "Oh, you're really good," and then you notice, "Oh, all the stuff was worth it." And I think at that point, you just start enjoying it, and you know that every effort you put into this thing will come back as a result.
And what do we say? Trust the process, right? Understanding that it's not an easy process, but if you trust it, everything will come. Everything will, and you've gotten everything from that process. I've gotten everything from that process, which is why I have this, because I kept going. I kept going. I wanted to do more and get more. And because I've, like Hannah, because I learned Spanish, because I was able to play music on a stage, that just gave me all the confidence. Being able to go into the street here in Ecuador and speak Spanish, and and relate to people, and communicate in a native way, is just, it's given me probably the most confidence I've ever had in my life, and this is what it's all about, and just understanding, okay? Hannah told you it's a process. It wasn't easy for her. She said it. It was hard. She hated it. She said she hated it. And trust me, we're gonna have Hannah on the show again, because right now we're just introducing her. But really, I'm always gonna have my favorite guests on, who can actually, and you're gonna see her play and all these other things that we're gonna share with her when she's ready, of course, when she's ready to share. But because I want the audience to really see the result, the real result, and what happens when you work hard. You know, this is an 18-year-old. And one thing, and Hannah, you said something that was so amazing. You said don't listen to anybody else. As an 18-year-old, how hard is that? To not listen to everybody else when everybody your age is on social media, listening to everybody else. How do you avoid that?
I just keep being in my world. Of course, it's not easy sometimes, because also I'm like having my scheduled day, my week, with all the things I'm practicing now, and they're like, "Yeah, you're doing too much. That's not normal. You're a student." But I think I have the passion for that, and the, I think the people I'm surrounded when I'm learning the stuff, for example, the people from my club, they also have the same passion, and they don't tell me these things. They keep telling me, keep going, and you can do it. So I think it's important to be surrounded by people who have the same passion for that, who don't tell you to stop, but to tell you, yeah, who support you.
Now, in closing, what I like to do, because you've heard Hannah talk. We've been talking in English for half an hour, and you can see the level of English that she has. And it's always funny. I always find it interesting when I hear my students speaking in their native language, because you see how far they've come. So Hannah, if you could you give us some dialect in both German and Japanese? Just any sentence, something simple.
Or give me any sentence. It's hard to say anything random. Give me a sentence.
The what?
Give me any sentence I can translate, because it's hard to just say something random.
Just like a greeting. Hi, how are you? My day has been fine.
Okay. Then I will first start with German. Ja, hallo, wie geht's? Ja, mir geht's super und ja, ich hoffe, ihr habt einen guten Tag. So that's me in German.
Okay, now in Japanese, how about Japanese? Let's say, "Hey, I saw that movie last night. It was incredible. What did you think about it?"
So that's me in Japanese.
So you see, she's fluent. I mean, those are her two native languages, and she's added on a third. And as you hear her speak, I mean, yes, we can hear a little bit of an accent, but I mean, she speaks just like me. It's just like me. And that's called hard work. That's not gifted. She's not gifted. She's not special. She just put a lot of hard work into it. That's the thing. And that's what made her special. Because she knew in order to get what she wanted, she needed to work hard. And Hannah, I have to thank you because really, you said so many amazing things that I didn't even think of to even ask her for you to say. And this is why this is why I have my students on here, because you have things that maybe I don't even know that you could share with people who are going into the same situation. You know, people that you're in your age. I have a lot of students your age and younger, and it's not easy for them. It's not easy. It's embarrassing to speak another language, especially as a teenager. You don't want to sound weird or sound all. So, but Hannah is telling you, don't listen to anybody else. Listen to yourself. Listen to what you want to do. And that's all you need. And be consistent. Remember, you don't have to like practicing. Okay? And I think that's the one thing I think that's why people really quit. Because they think, oh, this is gonna. Well, how come I'm not having fun running my scales up and down the keyboard? How come I'm not enjoying myself? Because it's not supposed to be. That's not supposed to be enjoyable. That's not the enjoyable part. That's the worst part of it. And I think that's what people confuse people, and because they just think it's supposed to be a magical experience from start to finish. And I can tell you, and Hannah can tell you, which is why I have Hannah on, because as far as my students, she's musical, so we can relate. I've learned a language. I've learned music. She's learned languages. She's so good. She's just so good. I don't know what to do. She's learned languages, she's learned sports, and she's learned music. So she understands the process of it. So that's why I really feel, even though she is 18 years of age, her experience exceeds that number. It really does exceed that number. So Hannah, any closing quotes you have for the audience, for our lovely audience out there listening?
I just tell everybody, keep going and don't take it too seriously, but do it.
We're gonna keep that going. And we're gonna even add a little bit of. And that's all we do here. We have fun. This is what we do. Hannah, thank you so much for being on the show. You will definitely, if you would like, we would love to have you back on, and multiple times. See that, people? She loves it. See, she loves you. You thought nobody could love you, but see, Hannah loves you. You see that? See that? See, isn't that amazing? So, Hannah, once again, thank you for being on the show. I hope, really, I hope this is going to help a lot of people. And your experience has been amazing. My time with you has been amazing. And I just can't see it being anything but better from this point on. So thank you once again, Hannah, and good. See you next time on Ovation English Through Acting. Ha ha! Goodbye, everybody.